Welcome back everyone to episode 18 of bringing KoRail to the Tour de France, and we have so many fun races here in this episode, starting off with the Tour of Japan, an 8-day stage race with very interesting stages, to be honest. A lot of uphill finishes here in this race, a time trial to start it off with, and a 31 kilometer basically uphill only race here in the sixth stage of this race, so a lot to look forward to. After this, we also have Veenendaal, a 1.1 race, a day stage race, very flat, a lot of windy section and cobbles, and this will be an exciting one as well. Maybe one good for the points. And last but certainly not least, the Klaipeda Grand Prix. The Klaipeda Grand Prix we won last year, so obviously we're hoping to repeat that result this year. As well, try to get that victory. We definitely don't want to do anything worse than last year, so let's see how we'll do. Let's quickly start it off with the first stage of the Tour of Japan, a time trial stage where, as you quickly saw, Fietskepal is the top contender of today. Can we make that a reality? That is something I definitely hope for. A difficult tour, this tour. A lot of climbs, a lot of hills, not too many flat sections, so it's not one for the sprinters, and that's why we brought most of our climbers here in this tour. And let's see how well we will do here in this race. As you can see here, Paul Fietske currently 5th in the rankings. He didn't do that great of a job, sadly. 12 seconds behind the number one, and I will take you through this race here with Christophe Krol. Basically starting off very quickly in this downhill sections. It is a 2 kilometer time trial, so it's very short into this last corner already, giving it all to the line and getting across the line here as 21st, 29 seconds behind the number one. So not an ideal start of the Tour of Japan, not an ideal start here for our team, but a 6th place in the end is not terrible, 12 seconds behind the number one. Florian actually doing really well here in 13th, 17 seconds behind the number one. So overall, not bad. And you see me checking out these other riders. Here's an 18-year-old that beat Fietskepal. How did he do that? Well done here by him. This JCL team, I think this is actually a Japanese team here, Team Ukyo, doing very well here in this first stage. 3 places in the top 5 for them. A little bit envious, a little bit jealous, but I'm hoping to obviously gain some time back in the coming stages. We have some really good riders with us here today. Kim Sung-bom, the last one of our team, ending up in 65th position. So again, not the best start here of the Tour of Japan, but there's plenty of opportunities to fight back, especially here in the second stage, a very hilly stage with an uphill finish towards the end. Let's see how we do here in this second stage.
Hello to one and all. It's an undulating route, so it will be a tactical race. We should have sun along the whole length of the route.
At least the tour starts off with beautiful weather. Christophe Krol with amazing statistics here as well. Sending out Jae Hwan-jun as we have our amazing mountain rider with us as well. Hoping to get some mountain points. You see me waiting a bit. I don't want to be the first one away and then just only be away by myself. So I'm going to wait here for the Japanese rider to join me. And in the end, it will be a breakaway of us two. In the meantime, I will defend Fietskepal and Christophe Krol. There is an uphill finish here in today's stage, so I'm hoping that they will do well here towards the end. I'm not betting on Jae Hwan-jun's sprinting statistics, as he does have a -1 here today, so it's not the best. But, you know, Fietske and Christophe Krol should give us plenty of opportunities to take a victory and take some wins here in this Tour of Japan. Heading into the first in-between mountain point, Jae Hwan-jun very easily getting across the line here as first, beating the Japanese rider, meaning that he scores the first 5 points here in the Tour of Japan for the King of the Mountain jersey. Very important for us to also get jerseys like this and get the income that comes with these jerseys. It's not going to be a lot for these 2.2 stages, but any income is always welcome. Another attack here by Jae Hwan-jun, trying to jump past the Japanese rider, but he's just barely better and gets across the line here as first. The second place here for Jae Hwan-jun, 8 points in total now for us here in this race, and we are 3 minutes ahead of the peloton, so we have a substantial lead. The next in-between points are about 10 kilometers away, so as you can see, we very easily reach that. Still a 2-minute gap towards the peloton. You see I'm trying to push very hard here in this uphill section to beat this Japanese rider, but he is just incredible, beating Jae Hwan-jun here in every way as possible. even in this downhill section, I should say, increasing the gap here towards Jaewon Jun. And you see me checking out the statistics. He isn't that fantastic. He has a similar downhill statistic as Jaewon Jun, but the mountains and hill statistics here for Jaewon Jun are just better than this Japanese rider. So I do not fully understand why he's not doing as well in these mountain sections, but well, it doesn't really matter either way. I wait for the peloton with Jaewon Jun after getting across the line here a second as well in the in-between sprint point. Up now into the hills, you see here Jaewon Jun pushing forward, and we gain the first 3 spots here in this little mountain area. We immediately have a gap of around 15 seconds towards the peloton, and even though it doesn't really matter for me, I don't want to be in a breakaway, there is a sprint section up ahead, which means additional bonus seconds for us, and so I want to lead out here with Fitzke, who is 6th here in the general classification, getting across the line here as first, and that means at least they will split the bonus seconds here for our team. Pretty good job here by our team, I would say. And now it's just basically going on to survive until the end of this race. You see here in this final in-between mountains area, Jaewon Jun jumps away from the peloton, getting across the line here as first, solidifying his lead. 18 points for the second place, 21 points now for Hwan Jun-jae, a 3-point lead here for our team, making sure that the mountain jersey is secured here in today's stage. A good result here for us already. On to the last 10 kilometers of this race. We are very busy trying to get our sprint train in order. You see how tough this stage has already been. Only 45 people remaining in the peloton. The groups behind are trying to jump on. You see here Kim Sung-won trying to move forward, trying to stay within this group, but he is absolutely exhausted and drops off immediately here as well. And there is still a hilly section up ahead. Again, the end of this stage ends uphill, so we still have to, conquer some mountains here in this final section. Carpentier with a very big pull, pulling apart the peloton even more. You see it drop down to 41 riders already here in this uphill section. How difficult can he make it for the remaining riders? You saw the leader of the general classification trying to jump away already, trying to make a difference here in this stage, but he was caught already by our riders. 2 kilometers to go, 1 kilometer left, and you see here a sprint with Fitzke. KoRail jumping from the wheel of Fitzke, getting across the line here as first. We even have a 6-second gap towards the remainder of the riders, and a number 1 and number 2 place here in the second stage of the Tour of Japan. A fantastic job here by our riders. It doesn't move us up, I think, all the way to first. Maybe it actually will with the bonus seconds. Thinking about it now, it might move us up all the way to first. Hwan Jun-jae ending up in 4th here as well. A great result here by our riders. The winner of today's stage is Christoph KoRail, winner of the second stage of the Tour of Japan. A great result here in this 2.2 stage, where we were a little bit behind thanks to the time trial. Again, not the best start of the race, but again, 8 days of racing. That means 8 different chances of winning a stage and getting ahead onto the general classification. Looking at the general classification, you see here Fitzke Paul moving up in the general classification, but only 7 seconds difference now here towards the Australian rider. Fantastic job here by him. Christoph KoRail moving all the way up to 3rd as well, so we are threatening the number 1 position. Best climber classification currently for Hwan Jun-jae. Obviously, we want to try and keep this up with him as well. Try to defend that jersey at the same time and see if we can move him up in the general classification as well, especially in this very hilly and difficult race that we are having at this moment. Paul getting across the line here as second and getting the in-between bonus points, making sure that he now has 30 points in the points classification. Christoph KoRail just behind him here with 28, and Hwan Jun-jae also has 4th here in the classification there. Paul Fitzke 1st in the Young Riders classification, and we are 3rd in the team classification, so still some improvement for us there. Going towards the general classification, you see Paul Fitzke moving up to 2nd place here, moving up 4 positions. KoRail Christoph moving up 18 positions here. An incredible job here by Christoph. Getting that win here in the second stage, getting those 10 additional bonus seconds and 2 additional bonus seconds as well in the in-between sprint point. So that moves him up by that many positions. Jae-Won-Jun also moving up 25 positions, doing incredibly well here. You see here no additional bonus seconds after third place, so there weren't any for him to get any bonus seconds for him to get there, as he ended up in 4th position. But still moving up so many positions here in this race. Many riders suffered here in this hilly race, and Wonjun Jae proving his mountain statistics and stamina here, moving up 25 positions in one race. Hong Ji-won also moving up 22 positions. So I think a really good race here for our team. Really showing our class here in this second stage, hoping to keep this up obviously in the rest of the race. Let's quickly move on here towards the third stage here, another stage that is quite hilly with an uphill finish. This should prove prey for Fietskapal and Christoph Kahl.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. It's an undulating route, so it will be a tactical race. The race will take place in beautiful weather conditions.
The conditions are beautiful today, but Fietske is still not feeling super well, as it seems. Hopefully this won't have too much impact here on today's stage. And again, I'm sending out Jae-Hon-Jun here to try and get those mountain points, try and secure that mountain jersey of his. You know, it is important for us to try and get it. You see me also ticking on who are the competitors here in this mountain jersey. Is it the Japanese rider that is jumping along with us that doesn't seem willing to cooperate very much to try and get in this breakaway? So this will be a big pull here by Jae-Won-Jun to try and catch up to the front runner here of this race. And in the meantime, obviously, we'll defend Paul Fietske and Christoph Kroll. Moving on to this first mountain section, you see here we did end up in the breakaway, thankfully, and we do manage to get beaten here on this first mountain point. 3 additional mountain points here for us, however, so that is still worth it in my book. We have a 3-minute gap towards the peloton, but the breakaway is not really working together. As you can see, I'm here with 2 different teammates, so they obviously will not work for me. They will only work for each other, and they are not that interested. Big sprint here in the first in-between sprint point. Jae-Won-Jun getting across the line here as first. At least getting 3 additional bonus seconds here for him. Important for us, as you know, 36 seconds off the number 1, but every second that he can get is a benefit for us. We make it all the way towards the second in-between mountain point. Still 2 minutes left in the gap on the peloton, but I don't think this group will make it all the way towards the end. We are not very cooperative with each other, and Jae-Won-Jun beating out here the Estonian rider, from the top of my head, beating out this rider here to get the first spot here in the mountain points once again, extending his mountain lead by another 5 points, currently at 29 climbing points, being the king of the mountains, as they would say. With 17 seconds left to go, we barely managed to make it towards the last in-between sprint point. I do a little sprint before the peloton catches up to us to try and maximize all the seconds that I can get. And that was his last little effort here by Jae-Won-Jun. Still a bit of a mountain left over, so hoping to recover here with Jae-Won-Jun, hoping to not make it too difficult for him, as he might be very good on this final section that we have coming up. You see here now 11 kilometers to go. The Japanese rider that was in the breakaway with us, that was not cooperating with us and trying to fight for his teammate, dropping off now, so, you know, not to be harsh, but good riddance. And we are in this last 9 kilometer section. You see Jae-Won-Jun managed to recover his red bar, a little bit of his yellow bar as well, and we just need to make sure that we do a final dash here towards the finish line. The peloton is pretty well together in this final section. Again, an uphill finish for us in this last area. You see me putting Jae-Won-Jun up ahead. Maybe not the best idea here, as he's already used his energy gel as well. But, you know, I kind of want to defend Carpentier and Fietske in this final section, as Jae-Won-Jun has already run out of energy very, very quickly. Again, I don't want to push him too hard, so in this mountain section he can decide whatever he wants to do, and I would just push on here with Carpentier up this hill. 2 kilometers left to go. This final section actually goes very, very quickly. I do not expect it to go this quickly. 1 kilometer left to go. We are already jumping from each other's wheels. Who will finish here first? Is it Fietske? Is it Kroll? Is it another rider? Is it the Kazakh rider here? Yes it is. Ruslan Aliyev, the Kazakhstani rider, finishing the third stage here as first. Congratulations to him. Kral Christoph finishing second, and Paul Fitzke getting across the line here as third. So a pretty good job here today by us. Still a fourth place. Was that a fourth place for Florian? Did I miss that here? Yes, a fourth place here for Florian as well. So great job here by our team today. A second place here for Paul Fitzke and a third place for Christoph Kral. That should give us some additional bonus seconds as well. Should move us up a little bit here in this in the general classification. Won Jun Jae currently moving up some places as well. The bonus seconds that he's gotten proving worthwhile for him, not losing too much time here in the back of this peloton, getting across the line. And that means that we, even Carpentier moving up 4 positions. I mean, we have 3 riders here in the top 10, 3 riders that we can threaten the number 1 in the general classification with. And that means that we have the upper hand here in this tour. A very strong start here in the first 3 stages of this tour. 5 left to go still, so anything can happen in this tour and with our team, but we're hoping obviously for a fantastic result, and we're hoping to get those results as well here in the 4th stage, a stage that is considered quite flat. There isn't much of a hills, but with a downslope sprint, you never know what will happen.
It's going to be a monotonous day when it comes to the terrain, but at least the teams with sprinters won't be complaining, and of course those opportunists with a bit of daring won't make their life easy.
When we are teams that have both sprinters and climbers, so I am quite satisfied with our team at the moment. I'm sending out Carpentier just to block off any breakaway chances. He is part of that top 10, so if he gets into the breakaway and gets towards the end, his victory is all but secured, but it does mean that he needs to get all the way towards the end of this stage with the breakaway, which again, I don't see happening very often. And in the meantime, we'll defend Paul Fitzke and Kral Christoph. In the in-between sprint here, Carpentier cycles towards a first place. That means 3 additional bonus seconds for him. I was about to say something about Paul's statistics, which are again in the negative today. So not really the best races here for Paul Fitzke, but hoping that that doesn't really matter for him throughout this race, and he can just stay stable and stay victorious here in this race. Carpentier, in the meantime, cycling towards the second in-between sprint point and finishing there as first as well. That means 6 additional bonus seconds for him, which is a pretty great result. And we still have 3.5 minutes here on the peloton with 56 kilometers remaining. Though there would have been a chance to make it towards the end, but the exhaustion was just too great. And here in this third in-between sprint point, you see our team getting across the line here as first, second, and third, getting those bonus seconds. Oh, only the top 2 basically. Getting those bonus seconds, however, with Paul Fitzke and Christoph Kral. So that is still worth it here for our team to get those bonus seconds. On towards the end of this stage, however, with less than 9 kilometers to go, which indeed will most likely end up in a mass sprint. Very good commentator. I very much approve of that message. And that means that I kind of just want to see how much we can push here on this hill. Carpentier is already out of energy, so he is not going to have a very fun time. I'm going to cut him loose here from the front of the peloton. Hopefully he can manage to get across this hill at a relative pace and then still do a pretty good sprint. I don't want to gain 6 bonus seconds for him to then throw it all away here towards the end, but it does seem very likely that this will happen. In this downhill section, we get loose of the peloton a bit. You see this, it's slightly splintering, but the peloton does manage to catch up. 75 riders remaining. Carpentier sadly losing the wheel of the peloton. That means that he will not get a good result here. Too long in the breakaway, sadly not managing to get a good result. And a sprint here by our riders 1 kilometer before the finish. Will Kral get towards the end of this stage as first? Yes, he does. A first place for Kral Christoph and a third place for Paul Fitzke. So first for Christoph Kral, third for Paul Fitzke. Another victory here in this Tour of Japan by Christoph Kral. Is this the moment that he gets out of his slump? I very much hope so. He has been in a bit of a slump this past season. As you can see also, in the graph of the last episode, and I'll include that graph in this one as well, Christoph Kral is nowhere near the points of Paul Fietske. He has been having a terrible first, second half of the first half of the season. It's really not been his races, and he hasn't been scoring very well. Finishing outside of the top 3, finishing outside of the top 5, not really getting those victories. But here in the Tour of Japan, he is back on his winning ways, meaning that he will get plenty of points here from the stages. And again, from the stages, not too many points, but at least in the general classification, there could be a lot of points here up for grabs by Christoph Kral and Paul Fietske. We should be in a very good position here now in the general classification with this victory. I kind of missed it because I was talking too much, and we are currently second in the team classification as well. Let's quickly head on to the general classification, where Kral Christoph is now in first after his victory in this 4th stage of the Tour of Japan. Paul Fietske staying in second place, but now only 1 second behind Christoph Kral. Jae-won Jun also moving up a couple of positions, and Florian sadly losing out here, about 1.5 minutes behind the peloton. Not really what we expected from him. He was just too exhausted in this breakaway. It has been a very tough race, and the breakaway just couldn't keep up with the peloton towards the end, meaning that he will lose a lot of time here in the general classification. That is okay though, as we still have Christoph Kral and Paul Fietske in the top 3 here, making sure that we have 2 riders here to protect in the coming stages. Jae-won Jun moving up to a 21st position. Maybe with the coming stages that are also quite hilly, he can make some steps there as well. On to the 5th stage, another hilly stage with a flat section in the end. That means that this will be a sprint finish, and another stage that could be a victory for Kral.
The profile of the route is a fairly mixed bag, so everybody should find a section to their pleasing.
A mixed bag indeed, with plenty of hills, but with a flat section at the end. So you would expect this to be, a bit tricky here for the riders. What will we do? Will we send someone out? Will we wait until the end? Again, this isn't the stage where the breakaway will get away. I'm quite certain of that. But there are chances here for our team, and so I want to try and grab those chances and send out Jae-won Jun, currently in 20th position. Still plenty off the top 10, and that means that he will be able to get away here from the peloton. Additionally, there are plenty of mountain points and sprint points up for grabs, so plenty of opportunities to extend the lead here in the mountain classification. And as we get here to this first sprint point, he very easily gets across the line here as first. A 2-minute lead on the peloton at the moment. Still full red bar, most of his yellow bar as well, so he's not exerting too much effort here in this first phase of this stage. And with 2 kilometers left to go, he also very easily will get across the line here as first. He stays away for quite a while, so he gets most of the points and most of the bonus seconds, which is pretty great, until this moment happens here in the race. Paul Fietske falls here together with Hong. The rest of our team waits behind for Paul Fietske, the number 2 in this race. Kral was following behind Paul as well, and making sure that he, gets into a good position here in the peloton. But that means that Kral gets stuck here behind the fall of Paul Fietske. Has to wait as well until he returns. Jae-won Jun in the fall as well. Oh my god, our top 3 riders here, or the riders that I imagined would do great here in this tour, have basically been left behind. Managed to get onto the back of this peloton here. I'm scrambling trying to get our sprint train together here with 10 kilometers left to go. You see me trying to move everyone up here in this peloton. The peloton goes forward here up this mountain. They sense weakness here from our team, one of the top teams here in the Tour of Japan, and the peloton up this hill starts to splinter. Riders start to attack. They notice that KoRail is not in the front of this peloton with the final 10 kilometers to go, and the peloton sadly splinters here. You see a group moving forward, 43 riders. Our entire team here is in the back of this race, and we are already 1 minute behind the front group. This is a terrible, terrible situation here for us. I don't think we can make up an entire minute here in the last 4 kilometers, especially seeing that it is downhill. If it was uphill, maybe we could have pushed quite hard here and we could have made up a minute, but with a downhill section and then a downhill sprint as well, there's just nothing left for us to do here. We are chasing incredibly hard with our riders, trying to close the gap. You see here Carpentier's push almost closing the gap here with this second group. We do in the end close this gap, but there's still a 40-second gap towards the front group. The finish line is in sight. I tried to sprint here with our riders to minimize the gap as much as we can, but we are unable to really close this gap entirely, and we get across the line with about 45 seconds behind the number one. The 5th stage of the Tour of Japan looked very promising here, getting a lot of points in the mountains classification, getting a lot of bonus seconds here for Jae Hwan-jun, but ended up a disaster for us. 45 seconds behind the front group. Fitzgerald Hong falling in the descent in one of these hills. KoRail getting stuck behind Fitzke. Jae Hwan-jun getting stuck behind them as well, and therefore losing out on their top step here in the Tour of Japan.
Hello and welcome. The strongest teams will certainly take hold of the race as soon as the road starts to rise so as to help their climbers.
Now we are here in the 6th stage of the Tour of Japan. The one that I mentioned here in the introduction is very weird. 30 kilometers, basically just ascent of the mountain. And as you can see here, I do not care about how other riders want to ride this race. For me, this will be just like a big team time trial uphill. It will be a slugfest here for our riders. You see me already assembling the team, making sure that we have a good position here in this 6th race here of the Tour of Japan. I'm cutting to about halfway here in this race. Thank you, commentator, for confirming it. The climb that we are heading into will be very tough, but you see the peloton already splintered. It seems to be too tough for a lot of other racers here in this 6th stage of the Tour of Japan. They want to go up this hill slowly and take their time, but I do not have the time for that personally. So I am chasing forward. There is a little group up ahead, 50 seconds up ahead. We will be unable to really catch up to them here in this last part. I would have liked to get these bonus seconds to give Fitzgerald and Christoph KoRail a slightly better chance, but that is what it is. We are just a group of 6 remaining here at the front of this race. Sevilla, the number 1 in this tour as well, is on our wheel. He will stick along. He notices how much of a threat we are. He does not want to fall behind. He does not want to risk being in the group behind while our team pushes forward. And we just keep moving on with 10 kilometers to go. That means 10 kilometers in very steep conditions here. 9% already, and it keeps going up in percentages. 11%, almost hitting the 12% here in this race. A very tough race here for our team, but Carpentier doing an excellent job, to be honest, pushing forward. Kim Sung-bom, our mountain support rider, supporting our team even though he is exhausted, so a fantastic job here by him as well. And Carpentier, what did this man eat in the morning? His stamina is insane. 7 riders here remaining in this front group. 5 of them are ours. The other one is the leader in the classification and the Japanese rider from the breakaway. Carpentier finally out of energy. Kim Sung-bom falling off the back of this group, finally done with his energy as well. And Carpentier will try and stick on and help our team for as long as possible. Meanwhile, Jae Hwan-jun is up ahead, trying to basically push on even further. Karl Christoph, who is not a mountain climber, is suffering incredible amounts here in this race. You see his yellow bar is almost gone. I would like to spare him a little bit longer. I would like for him to keep going on a little bit longer, maybe even move up here in this general classification. But in the end, he drops off the front of this group, tries to stick onto the wheel of Sevilla, the number 1 in the general classification, but cannot. And in the end, 5 kilometers before the finish line, Jae Hwan-jun runs out of energy as well. Fitzgerald going for a solo adventure, 5 kilometers off the line, 16% gradient currently. What an insane percentage here for our riders, and there is still so much to go. Both of our riders are exhausted. You see the green leader's jersey of Sevilla now almost 2 minutes behind Fitzgerald, and every little stroke of the pedals that he does, he extends his lead here on the number one of this race. Oh, the previous race, falling down, suffering a 50-second loss here in time. The other riders not waiting for the leader of the general classification then either, but now Paul Fitzke moving up this hill, moving up towards a victory here in the 6th stage of the Tour of Japan. The road is still long. It is still 3 kilometers all the way towards the end. The gradients are crazy. We are here now with Jae Won-jun trying to manage his race pace as well, trying to make sure that he gets as good of a position as possible in this 6th stage of the Tour of Japan. The leader of the group has found a smaller group as well that are pushing up forward. They are now 20 seconds behind Jae Won-jun, and the gap there is closing slowly but surely. Paul Fitzke trying to establish and trying to get into a rhythm to make sure that his energy does not go to waste in this final section. 1.5 kilometers to go. He can smell the victory. He can taste the victory. It is so close for him. Jae Won-jun still trying to do his best to catch up to Fitzke and trying to stay ahead of the number one here in the general classification. That Paul Fitzke now with 800 meters to go, riding towards a definite victory. How much can he extend his lead on the number one? How much can they pass him by? How far can he go? This German rider, this German time trialist, climber, classics rider, and also a hill rider, an incredible overall rider here of our team, getting across the line here as first in the 6th stage of the Tour of Japan. An incredible result here by Paul Fitzke. Jae Won-jun sprinting here towards the end. The other leaders, or the other group, sadly manages to pass Jae Won-jun. You see here the green jersey, the leader in the general classification, managing to pass Won-jun Jae here for a 3rd place in the 6th stage of the Tour of Japan. Won-jun Jae sadly not extending his lead here on the leader of the general classification, but hopefully moving up in the general classification himself by beating other riders here in this stage. Winner of the 6th stage of the Tour of Japan, however, Paul Fitzke, 1 minute and 50 seconds ahead of the previous number one of the Spanish rider here, and that means that he is now first in the general classification as well, 1.5 minutes ahead of Sevilla. Fantastic job here by him. Won-jun Jae moving all the way up to 6th as well, currently 3 minutes behind Paul Fitzke. That is not a gap to bridge. He will definitely not make it towards the number one position here, Won-jun Jae, who is currently leader of the climber classification with 46 points in this tour. So a great job here by him in general, also proving how good of a climber he is in general. He has he probably would have done better than Paul Fitzke if he did not lead him out as he did, if he did not bridge those kilometers as Jae Won-jun did. But in the end, he helped Paul Fitzke here towards a victory in the 6th stage of the Tour of Japan and towards the top step here in the general classification, moving up 7 spots here to gain a 1.5 minute lead on the Spanish rider. So that will be a very difficult gap for him to bridge. Jae Won-jun moving up 19 spots all the way to 6th now in the general classification as well. An incredible job here by him. Karl Christoph finishing quite a bit below that, 3 places down, and the rest of our riders actually moving up a lot here in this very short but very difficult stage. So definitely something to be proud of by our team. Hong obviously exhausting himself quite early in this race, in this very short stage, but doing a great job here. Our entire team doing a great job to basically lead out our team towards a victory here in this tour and up this very, very steep mountain here of Mount Fuji. So exciting. I didn't even realize that this was Mount Fuji. So that's very, very cool to do. Paul Fitzke, winner of the stage that goes up Mount Fuji.
Hello and welcome. The profile of the route is a fairly mixed bag, so everybody should find a section to their pleasing.
on to the 7th stage here. One more stage left after this, and this is a tricky one as we do have an uphill finish ready for us today. I'm setting out KoRail Christoph, currently 10th in the general classification. Again, not a real threat here to Paul Fietske, but any bonus seconds that he can get is always welcome. And if he can win in the breakaway, that would be even better here for Christoph KoRail. In this in-between sprint point, he does get across the line here as first very, very easily, getting some additional bonus seconds here. I'm curious how the gaps are towards the remainder of the general classification. Obviously a 4-minute gap between him and Paul Fietske, but maybe he can move up a couple of spots here with some of these bonus seconds. Towards the in-between sprint point, the second in-between sprint point, we have already gathered up the breakaway. There wasn't much of a point here, and we keep on pushing up these hills. J1 June getting across the line here as first, getting some additional bonus seconds as well. He is currently 6th in the general classification, 2 or almost 3 minutes behind Paul Fietske, so not much of a chance for him to really threaten anything, but that's okay. In the meantime, we are near the end of the stage, 9 kilometers left to go. You see the peloton slowly but surely scattering here and there. They're having troubles keeping up, especially the end of the pack, and so that means that we can keep pushing on here with our team, our mountain support rider here, starting this first push up this hill, hoping to basically hurt anyone that is behind, that needs to try and catch up and try to push on. Doing a fantastic job, honestly, here in this race as well. Really good job here by Kim Sung-bom. Really doing a fantastic support job here for our riders, providing plenty of lead-out material. Carpentier here as well with incredible stamina, doing a fantastic job here up this mountain, especially after the previous days. This must feel like nothing compared to these guys. And with these hilly terrains, it's also a bit tricky because I would expect them to lose more energy, but they are not, so that's always beneficial for us. 2 kilometers left to go. I do a big sprint here. 1 kilometer left to go. I sprint with Fietske as well. KoRail sits up. I think he gives up, but definitely not. That is definitely not KoRail's style. He smells victory, and Fietske is unable to get past KoRail here. Getting across the line as second. Christoph KoRail getting across the line as first. Another victory here in the Tour of Japan here by Christoph KoRail. Sevilla actually ending up as third here in this race. Hwan Jun-jae taking fourth. A fantastic sprint here also by Hong. Still ending up as 6th. A very surprising 6th place here by Hong. But overall, a really good job here by our team. And here in the podium, you see the tree blocking once again Christoph KoRail. He does have a theme that if he does win, there is some trees blocking him. But that doesn't take away that he has another victory here in the Tour of Japan. Another 10 bonus seconds for him as well. Paul Fietske getting across the line as second, increasing the lead that he already had over the Spanish rider. And basically securing his lead even more. 1 stage left to go after this, so if he doesn't fall off his bike once again, we should be able to keep this lead. At least that's what I'm, hoping for. Best climber, still Hwan Jun-jae, now with 49 points. There's no chance for him to lose this mountain jersey, so he will definitely be the best climber here in the Tour of Japan, even in the last stage, as it is a flat one, so that would be, pretty weird to lose it there. But he will also be the best climber, so congratulations to Hwan Jun-jae. Points classification. Ooh, Fietske 1 point ahead of Christoph KoRail, even though Christoph is the better sprinter and has won more stages here in this tour. Paul Fietske is 1 point ahead, thanks to the bonus seconds and bonus points earlier in this stage that he's gotten, and the consistent second places and the first place in the previous one, so congratulations to him. Paul Fietske also first in the Young Riders classification, of course. Second is the Kazakhstani rider, and third is Hwan Jun-jae. Hwan Jun-jae doing an incredible job here also in the Tour of Japan, something that we can definitely be proud of. A very tricky tour, but he seems to be doing better and better the longer the tour goes, so maybe that's a good idea for him as well, to do longer stages, longer tours with hillier climbs. He just seems to be doing very well there in these type of stages and in these type of tours. First, also in the team classification, I think that is undeniable here with how we are riding. Florian even ending up as 10th in the stage, definitely not something that I noticed. Hong Ji-won ending up as 6th, so 5 riders here in the top 10 of this stage. An unexpected result here that these other riders have gotten that, but definitely one I'll happily take. Sevilla also ending up 10 seconds behind Paul Fitzke, so that should actually secure it even more. It was already relatively well secured, but that should, help out with securing that as well. Scrolling down here, you see the rest of our team getting across the line a little bit later, but that's totally okay. Going on to the general classification, Hwan Jun-jae moving up 1 spot, sadly only 1 spot, but it's probably thanks to the bonus seconds that he's gotten in that in-between sprint stage, so that's something that I'll happily take. KoRail Christoph also moving up 1 spot, and now we have 3 riders again in that top 10 position, secured in that top 10 position as well, and I don't think they will lose that position anytime soon. The rest of our riders, even Kim Sung-bum, moving up 5 positions here as well, and Hong also moving up 5 positions, so probably 5 riders that lost a lot of time here in today's stage, and Kim Sung-bum, our mountain support rider, and Hong Ji-won moving up some positions as well, so pretty good result here in the 7th stage of the Tour of Japan. On to the 8th stage, only 110 kilometers, a very flat stage, so no threat here for the classification of Paul Fitzke.
Today's terrain is fairly level, so it's ideal ground for those who are good on the flat. The race will take place under a bright sun.
Exactly, the sun is bright, and so are Christoph KoRail statistics, at least. The rest of our team not doing so great, and I think that is pretty okay. You see Hong here at the front of the peloton, and if there is breakaway, let's send him along, maybe get some glory. Yeah, Hong has had 0 points this season so far, so if he wins the stage and gets some points because of that, I think that would be very well deserved. But again, I don't think the breakaway will stay away here in this race. However, you never know. In the meantime, we'll obviously defend our top riders with Jae Hwan-jun and Paul Fitzke and Christoph KoRail. So not much of a challenge here for us. All we need to do is basically survive towards the end of today's stage. And switching there right now with 7 kilometers left to go, you see our sprint train is already going full blast. It is a bit of a tricky last stage. It is in the streets, and it is always difficult with these corners. I never know really what to focus on here. In these little corner sections, you can get caught off guard very easily as well with a corner just before the finish line, and therefore losing all of your positions or losing a guaranteed victory if you are positioned very, very poorly. So it's good for us to stay up front here. With 2 kilometers left to go, we still have plenty of our sprint train going on, so it seems to be going very well here for us in this last little section of the race. It is a straight drag race towards the finish. Fitzke managing to squeeze past everyone else here on the left and getting across the line here as first. Fitzke with his better positioning, I would say, and the better tactical racing, managing to squeeze past all the other riders on the left side where there was still a bit of a gap. Christoph KoRail was caught behind the other riders, couldn't pass, and Fitzke Paul also winning the last stage of the Tour of Japan, winning the general classification, winning the last stage. A dominant performance once again by Paul Fitzke. A fantastic job here by him. Christoph KoRail getting across the line here as 7th, and Florian getting across the line as 8th. So a pretty good race here for us in this final stage of the Tour of Japan. Hwan Jun-jae finishing as 5th in this race, Paul Fitzke as 1st, and Christoph KoRail as 9th. That means that as a team, I think we've put down a pretty incredible result here. 3 riders in the top 10 in this 2.2 stage, or in this 2.2 race. An incredible result here. Hwan Jun-jae also taking the best climber classification. Well deserved. I think he is still the best climber on the team, maybe closely followed by Paul Fitzke. 2 incredible riders here. And Hwan Jun-jae getting the mountain jersey here, getting the king of the mountains. Paul Fitzke getting the points classification as well, winning that blue jersey, valiantly ahead of Christoph KoRail this time, not just by 1 point, but by 17, thanks to that victory here in the last stage of the Tour of Japan. Incredible result here by Paul, winning not only the general classification, the points classification, but also the young riders classification. And as a team, we won the Tour of Japan. We have the best classification here in the Tour of Japan, something that I'm proud of to be highlighted, as well as we haven't really done that too often. We always get like 2nd or 3rd for some reason. Here you go, the stage results here in the end. First place for Fietske, 7th, 8th and 9th for 3 of our remaining riders, so pretty good. Going to the general classification, Paul very easily winning the general classification. Something that I was hoping for after the first 4 stages of this tour, but that 5th stage definitely threw a wrench into the wheels or into the spanners or whatever the saying is. Basically throwing the entire race upside down, making sure that we are suddenly 30 seconds behind the number 1. But we valiantly fought back here in the 6th stage and winning the tour overall, basically fighting and definitely winning it in that stage. So pretty great job here in the Tour of Japan. On to a more difficult race, I would say. In general, a 1.1 race. Those races are with some severe competition. We have all of our sprinters here in this flat stage. Let's see how we'll do.
Greetings to all. The race has cobbled sections that are renowned for testing both bikes and their riders. You've got to know what you're doing.
So normally Paul Fietske would be part of this race if the Veenendaal wasn't raced during the Tour of Japan. That means Paul Fietske is currently racing in the Tour of Japan and sadly is not able to be in this lovely Classics race. Otherwise, I'm sure he definitely would have loved to be here. He definitely would have performed in this tour. We do have a lot of our other sprinters here, and this stage starts off furiously with a lot of attacks, a lot of people trying to jump forward, trying to be in the breakaway, but let's be honest, they definitely won't make it all the way towards the end, so we will just relax here in the meantime and try to stick it out and try to take our riders towards the end. Less than 10 kilometers of the race. You see here the group has severely diminished. Only 14 riders remaining here in this final section of the race. Of those 14 riders, 5 of them are of KoRail. You see Jumbo-Visma and Picnic PostNL also being part of the team here. It's Visma Lease bike now, but in this game it was still Jumbo-Visma before they committed tax fraud and this other stuff. Anyway, on to the last 6 kilometers of this race. 3 riders remaining, which isn't ideal, obviously, as we want to have more riders and for our sprint train, because that keeps the other riders out of the wind. You see the riders from Picnic PostNL already pushing forward as well. Everyone is trying to get into as good of a position as possible. Everyone wants to basically have as much energy available as possible for this sprint. 2 kilometers remaining. I do a very early sprint here with Van Strijtem. That means I want to try and carry it on towards this corner here, and just before the final corner I also sprint with Savakovsky. He does get in the wheel here of the Jumbo-Visma rider, but sadly unable to beat Niklas Behrens here towards the line. Severin Savakovsky, however, second across the line here in Veenendaal in this 1.1 race. An incredible result here for our team. And Matthijs van Strijtem also a top 10 position here in this race. Very well deserved here for these top tier riders. You see here the names of these top tier riders. And these are some top tier sprinters, I would say. With Max Walscheid, Per Strandhagenes, Niklas Behrens. These are all very good riders also in real life, so to have Severi among these riders is an incredible result here by our team, something that we can be very, very happy with. Not the top step of the podium, but a second place, and I think that's still pretty incredible. Now on to the Klaipeda Grand Prix, not as exciting as the Veenendaal, definitely not on the same level, but as you can see here, we won this last year with Kim Yon-sok, a second place for Heo Sung-soo last year as well. So let's see if we can do the same here this year. We have both of those riders with us today who will win this race.
Hello to one and all. Today's terrain is fairly level, so it's ideal ground for those who are good on the flat. The race will take place under a bright sun.
A bright sun it is indeed, which seems to be pretty good for our riders except for Matthijs. Probably exhausted from that 1.1 race. He really gave it his all, but again, a top 10 position there for him is a pretty amazing result, so congratulations to Matthijs there. In the meantime, we have, as you saw, Heo Sung-soo and Kim Yon-sok with us today as well. The number 1 and number 2 of last year's stage, hoping to repeat that result this year as well. And we have Savakovsky, who just got a second place here in a 1.1 race, so he is on fire.
10 kilometers remaining.
On to the last 10 kilometers, it will definitely be another mass sprint as always. You see here I have the riders lined up. Van Strijtem doing a very early lead out now, as his statistics just aren't very good today, and sometimes that just kind of happens. You know, it's okay. It doesn't have to be amazing every day of the week. But we have Heo Sang-soo and Kim Yoon-suk as part of this sprint train as well. Again, I want to repeat the result. I want to get them some good results as well. They have been scoring some victories and podiums and getting some good results in the previous episodes here and there, albeit sporadically, but I would like to have it a bit more. But in the end, Savukovsky is the better sprinter of all of them, so he will try to go for a victory instead of Heo Sang-soo and Kim Yoon-suk. His sprint stats today are just too good to ignore, and I do want to get a victory here in this race. I don't want to get just a top 3 or a top 5 position. We won it last year, and I want to repeat that this year as well. A big sprint already by a couple of riders. Heo Sang-soo taking the lead, Kim Yoon-suk jumping from his wheel, and Savukovsky following just after that with 1 kilometer remaining. There's a lot of competition actually for this finish. Savukovsky getting across the line here as first. A very, very close victory here for Savukovsky. We almost just got a top 3, but Savukovsky pulling it over the line here with a photo finish. Savukovsky, winner of the Klaipėda Grand Prix. An amazing result here by Savukovsky, almost as good as the second place in the 1.1 race. And a 5th place here for Hyun-suk Kim. Sadly, no repeat of his victory of last year, but still a top 5 position for him, something to be proud of. Savukovsky here, winner of the Klaipėda Grand Prix, and KoRail, winner of the team classification for this Grand Prix as well. I think overall a pretty satisfactory race by us. Again, we wanted to repeat the victory of last year. We succeeded at that with our Finnish rider. It was way closer than I thought it would be. I thought we would lose out there at the end, but Savukovsky managing to win the Klaipėda Grand Prix. An amazing job here by him. Heo Sang-soo ending up as 12th as well in the end. Sadly, just outside of that top 10, barely managed to sprint away from the rest of the group. Kim Yoon-suk, 5th place, 1st place, Severi Savukovsky. So a pretty great job here by our team today. Definitely something to be proud of. Now on to the points, the total points that we have right here. We're already up to almost 2,900 points. It's going very, very quickly. And you see here Paul Vitske still on top of the winners leaderboards. An incredible job here by him and in the Tour of Japan. Severi also moving up here as well, still in 3rd, but doing an incredible job. And that you can see also reflected in the points here by Severi, making a big jump upwards with his 2nd place in the Veenendaal 1.1 race. KoRail with a minor increase there for him as well, but still a good job here in the Tour of Japan. And Paul Vitske keeping that top spot, of course, in the points as well. Still more than doubling the next best rider. But Severi with his 2nd place is edging closer and closer to that 2nd spot. Can Carl Christoph maintain it? You'll have to find out in the next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.